Houlton Town Council last night fired their town manager. Cameron Clark was arrested in September for domestic violence, assault, and tampering with a witness. At first, the council allowed Clark to stay on the job after his arrest, but in early October, they voted to put him on administrative leave. A town council member confirmed to WABI that the council voted last night to terminate Clark's contract effective immediately. They say Clark will receive 3 months severance pay. He became town manager last April.